Hi viewers, welcome back to our learning channel. So this is the same series in which we are discussing monitoring, evaluation, learning and research. In the previous sessions, we already discussed what is monitoring, how it is conducted, what is the process monitoring, etc. And in those previous sessions, we also discussed what are logic models, theory of change, result framework, logical framework, log frame, etc. We also developed all these documents practically in those sessions. If you have not watched them, so the link is given in the description. Now in this session our focus is on evaluation. What is evaluation? What are the stages of it? What are the evaluation TORs, the term of references, what are the key contents of those TORs? What is evaluation criteria? What are evaluation reports? What are the key contents of those reports? How they are developed? And we will also be discussing some examples. Before going forward, let me remind you, don't forget to subscribe, like and share our channel. Thank you. What is evaluation? As we discussed in our previous sessions, monitoring, which is to monitor a project or a simple activity implementation on daily basis. Evaluation is then to see the outcome, to assess the project's outcome, the desired objective. So a project or program evaluation is normally carried out at a significant time. Unlike monitoring is done on daily basis, while evaluation is done at a specific time. This might be during a project. You can conduct an evaluation during a project to see how much the project has contributed so far, or you can conduct this at the base, at the start, at the baseline, at the start of the project. For example, to see what is the current situations related to the intervention that you are bringing to the community. Or you can conduct evaluation at the end of a program, or sometime after later 3 years, after 3 years of a program, if it is a huge program, to see the impact overall. Now, an evaluation may also be carried out when a project or program is about to move into a new phase. For example, you are implementing a project and you are now completing an intervention and you are going into a new phase. You are completing a previous phase. So you can conduct an evaluation to see the impact of the previous phase so that you may have some evidence to improve the next phase project implementation. There are many different types of evaluation and they are applied in many different circumstances. This is a systematic and objective assessment. It is not subjective, it is objective because you are developing tools, there are different people involved, and it is of an ongoing or completed project. You can conduct this within the project implementation, during the project implementation, or a program or a policy. If you have introduced a policy and you have implemented it and you want to see the impact of that policy, or if you want to assess the design of the project, the implementation, or the results. Now, evaluation is different from monitoring. How? An evaluation differs from monitoring in several ways. An evaluation is normally a short time-bound exercise. For example, you are conducting an evaluation of a project, so that might be of a 1 month or 2 month or 3 month. While monitoring is more likely to be ongoing because monitoring is a daily activity that you are doing on daily basis to assess the project implementation, etc. An evaluation usually focus on outcome and impact. When you are conducting evaluation, so you are focused on the outcomes and the desired objective rather than activities and outputs, because in monitoring you focus on activities and outputs. Training is conducted or not, how many participants have been trained, whether that has been trained according to the target. So that is monitoring. Now evaluation, if you are conducting a training, so now you conducting evaluation, so you would like to see what is the impact of the training on the participants or on their role, on their organization. An evaluation is often carried out by an external personality because you want a third party so that there is no bias, whilst monitoring tends to be carried out by project staff because that is a routine, a daily routine. So project staff are conducting activities and there are monitoring people who are conducting monitoring to see the and track the implementation of the project. We look at this logic behind interventions. You already know about that. Behind any intervention there is this logic of inputs, activities, outputs, outcome and goal that we have already discussed in our previous sessions also. Now here you can see this part, outcome and goal. This you assess through evaluation, while these three you do through monitoring: the inputs, activities, and output. The different stages of an evaluation. Now we will discuss the different stages of an evaluation. The first stage is the purpose. What is the purpose of the evaluation? So at this stage, you decide about the purpose. It is always very important for different stakeholders to agree the purpose. For example, you are conducting an education project. So there is education department, your organization, your management, and then there are some other stakeholders. So at this stage, you decide about the purpose. What is the basic purpose? Why we are going to conduct the evaluation? Whether we are conducting an evaluation to see the impact of the project interventions, or a policy, or a program, etc. This means being clear about who will be expected to make decisions based on the findings of the evaluation. Here also you would like to see that what decisions we would like to take based on the evaluation that we are going to conduct. And evaluation can serve many different purposes, and many evaluations are carried out for more than one purpose. Maybe there are different purposes. Evaluation carried out during a project or program are often designed to generate information and recommendations which can be used to improve the performance of the project or program being evaluated. Evaluation may also generate lessons that can be applied within future projects or programs or by other agencies operating similar projects and program in other times and places. When you are conducting your evaluation, so there would be some lesson learned which other projects or other organizations or other agencies can also use them. Evaluations are often designed to enable organizations to account for the use of resources to funding agencies, governments, international NGOs, INGOs. Sometimes an evaluation can be used to help decide whether or not to extend a project or program into a new phase. For example, you are completing a phase and you want to conduct an evaluation to see whether we should go ahead with the same interventions or we should bring some changes into the intervention. That evaluation will tell you. And the findings of evaluation may be used to inform policy decisions. These may be internal policies developed by the institutions managing an evaluation, such as donors, governments, or NGOs, or external, such as policies developed by government agencies, etc. etc. Evaluations are often used to generate information on achievements, which can then be communicated to wider audience for marketing or fundraising purposes, so that you can do some more fundraising. At stage 2, you decide on the type of evaluation, which type of evaluation we need. There are many different types of evaluation. Some are designed to achieve one or more of the different files, others are used within specific types of sector. The type of evaluation has implications for how the work of the evaluation is taken forward, who takes it forward, and who is involved at different stages. Some of the different types of evaluation are: number one, formative. This type of evaluation evaluates a training program during its development. It's not only about training, it can be any other intervention, but it's formative. During you are implementing activities and then you are doing evaluation to see the impact. Then there are summative evaluations which are conducted after the training program or any other intervention has been designed in order to provide information on its effectiveness. Then there are process evaluation. Process evaluation focus on the implementation of the program to determine if specific strategies and activities were implemented as intended or not. Then there are outcomes evaluation. This type focus on the changes in knowledge, attitudes, and behavior that resulted from those activities or from training or any other intervention activities, etc. And then there are impact evaluation, which focus on long-term sustained changes on the job performance as a result of the delivery of that training or any other program. Now let's discuss these evaluation types, when to use them, what it shows, why it is useful. The different types of evaluation on this sites: this formative evaluation, which is also called ability assessment, needs assessment, And this is process evaluation, R, program monitoring, then outcome evaluation, I, R. It is also called objective based evaluation. And then economic evaluation, you also can do cost analysis, cost effective evaluation, cost benefit analysis, cost utility analysis, impact. These are the different types of evaluation, and then when to use them, what it shows, and why it is useful. You can pass and read all these different points related to when to use them, what it shows, and why it is useful. There are other types also which are mostly relevant to the already discussed one, like baseline, end line, exposed, midline. So this baseline is basically the evaluation that you do at the start of a project to have some situation analysis, some baseline figures. End line evaluation, which you do at the end of the project. Exposed, it is also called exposed, or there might be midline, which you can do during the project implementation at the midpoint. Now it's stage 3, when you decide about the purpose at stage 1, and then about the type of evaluation that you are going to do at stage 2. So now you are going to stakeholder analysis. Maybe who are the different stakeholders involved with you in this evaluation? It is always important to establish who should be involved in an evaluation from the beginning, and how they should be involved at each stage of the process. There are 3 key questions that need to be addressed at this stage. Number 1, who needs to be involved in the evaluation? Number 2, at what stage do they need to be involved? And what purpose their participation will serve? Why we are going to engage them? Involvement in all stages is mandatory. Most of the time, we see that we usually involve stakeholders when we have already conducted an evaluation and we are going to disseminate, which is very wrong, because if your stakeholders are not involved in the early stages, the purpose stage, the developing TORs for the evaluation, if you don't involve them at these stages, so at the end, if you are going to disseminate or to arrange a workshop for them to validate the results, so that would be a little bit difficult for the stakeholder to understand. So involvement in all stages is mandatory. Or in simple words, we can say that to whom you want to show the results of the evaluation, those same people should be involved in all process of the evaluation. Now stage 4. At this stage, you developed keywords. First, you identified the purpose, then you identified the type, then you decide about the stakeholder, you mapped them. Now is the time to develop TORs, term of reference. An evaluation term of reference, which is called TOR, is a brief document that outlines the purpose, scope, and objectives of an evaluation. What is the purpose of this evaluation? What is the scope? And what are the objectives? These are the main contents of the TORs. It can also include information on work plans, methodologies, logistics, and budgets. A TOR should be formally agreed between different stakeholders. It must be agreed between stakeholders, including those funding an evaluation, the donor, those managing the evaluation, the organization, the management, those primarily responsible for implementing the evaluation, the firm, the third party, and the organization responsible for the intervention that is being evaluated, and the organization are the project people who have implemented that project or those intervention which you are going to evaluate. So these stakeholders must be agreed upon the TORs, the term of reference. A TOR is normally produced before the detailed work of an evaluation begins and help shape both design and implementation. It's a basic document for your evaluation. If you don't have a TOR, so you are not going to conduct any evaluation. It makes clear from the start what is expected from those involved in the key elements of a typical TOR for a straightforward project or program evaluation are: number 1, basic information of the project. These are the key contents of the TOR. Here you provide some basic information of the project which is going to be evaluated, what are the evaluation partners, the purpose and objectives of the evaluation, the methodology, which type of methodology you want the third party to, how they are going to assess the project effectiveness or to conduct the evaluation, what type of data collection methods, etc., they would be using. Conduct of the evaluations, which outline the key personnel required, how many personnel you want there to be in the evaluation team, their roles and area of expertise, etc. And then the schedule, the schedule, the work plan, the dates, that which times, which stages should be finalized during the evaluation. And then the expected outputs, what are your expectation from this evaluation, that you should list down in the TORs. And documents, a list of key documents that should be reviewed as part of the evaluation, for example the project proposal, etc., work plan, etc. And then the management of the evaluation, who are the people who would be responsible to manage the overall evaluation. And then review of the evaluation, here you clarification of who will provide feedback and how the evaluation process went. So those responsibilities also you decide about in the TORs. And then there are annexures. A TOR might also contain annexures containing more detailed information. This could include some of the following, for example, a logical framework of the project, a detailed budget for the evaluation, a person specification for different team members, a specification and breakdown of the working days required, a timeline for the evaluation, etc. Now at stage 5, you are when you develop the TOR, so you are going to tender, to advertise, to select the firm individuals to conduct the evaluation. So here you advertise the TOR. When you agreed, the next step is normally to put together an evaluation team, which you usually do through advertisement of the TORs. If you are conducting it through third party, if you are conducting it through internal bodies, so here you will have to select the team member for the evaluation. Some teams or individuals are appointed to carry out an evaluation because of their position, knowledge, or expertise. Other teams are appointed based on competitive tendering, etc. etc. And then the stage 6 is the implementation. When you select the firm or the individuals for the evaluation, then there is the implementation of the evaluation, where you conduct inception meeting and planning for the evaluation with the third party or the people who are involved. And the design will be heavily influenced by decision made during earlier stages and will be based on the TORs. It may also be influenced by an initial literature review. There might be some changes because in the stage 1, 2, 3, 4, whichever you decided about. So here in the inception, when you are conducting the evaluation with the experts, so during the literature review, there might be some changes which you should agree upon with other stakeholders. Implementation is likely to involve a range of different activities such as planning and organizing logistics, vehicles, accommodations, collecting primary data and reviewing secondary data, analyzing the data, identifying major finding, lesson learned and recommendations. This is the implementation. And then preparing a report or reports of the evaluation, and then presenting the preliminary or the final results to different stakeholders in different ways, and incorporating feedback into evaluation finding and recommendation, because these different stakeholders will be giving you different inputs. Now stage 7 is the use of evaluation finding. When you conduct an evaluation, so up to this point every organization is doing it its best, but here at this stage most of the organization also ignore this stage, which is the use of the evaluation. The whole purpose of an evaluation is to produce information that is used. Now this use is very important. Here you can develop a management response for the different findings of the evaluation, etc. That, for example, if there is a finding about an activity, so what is the solution that you decide about with the management, and then you, and based on that feedback or the solutions, you incorporate that in the project or in the future projects, or those can be incorporated by other projects also if they are conducting a similar project. Evaluation reports. Four key functions of an evaluation reports. Number one, a good evaluation report needs to answer the four universal M&E questions. Number one, has the project program or an organization done what it said it would do? Has it done it well? If done, so whether it is done well, what difference has it made? What are the results? Has it done the right things? Or there are some negative impact also? The reports needs to fulfill the evaluations TOR and should answer the key questions set out in those TORs, because in the TORs also you usually come up with these questions. It needs to be digestible. In other words, it needs to be an appropriate length with a logical structure and with a style and language that is appropriate for its intended readerships. The report needs to facilitate learning and enable decision makers to make better decisions about the project. You are reviewing an evaluation report, so these are the major points which you should consider when you are reviewing the evaluation report. Now, there are some criteria and standards for evaluation which you usually present in the TORs to the third party so that they come up with their methods. There are many sets of evaluation standards and criteria. The most well-known setup criteria is the OECD DAC criteria, which is the UN evaluation team criteria developed by them. It consists of five criteria for assessing development evaluation, and there are additional four if you are going to conduct evaluation of humanitarian sector. Now, what is the difference between development evaluation and humanitarian? Development are the regular projects which you are conducting in regular area, 5 years project, 2 year project, 3 year project. While humanitarian projects are short term, which are flood responses and some other responses which are conducted immediately those interviews. Now let's discuss these criteria. The first criteria is relevance. When you are conducting an evaluation, so you want to see the relevance of the project, whether this project was relevant to the community where this project was implemented, means the extent to which a development intervention was suited to the priorities and policies of the target group, recipient and donor, whether these activities intervention were relevant to the needs of the people, the donors requirement and the target group. The next one, the next criteria is effectiveness. You want to see whether the project was effective. Effectiveness basically is a measure of the extent to which a development intervention has attained its objective. It is to see the effectiveness against objective of the project. What were the objectives of the project and whether those had been achieved effectively or not. Then there is efficiency, which is to see the economic side of the project. For example, a project has been implemented which was relevant, which was effective also, but whether it was efficient, whether it has costed more than it should have costed, or whether it was good enough to produce the desired results. Then the impact. For impact is also a criteria. Impact include the positive and negative changes produced by an intervention, directly or indirectly, intended or unintended, that you have to see in the evaluation. And then there is sustainability. A project is relevant, effective, efficient, impactful, but whether it is sustainable. When you go from this area, whether there are some sustainability aspect. Sustainability is concerned with assessing whether the benefits of an intervention are likely to continue after donor funding has been withdrawn. When you go from that area, when there is no more funding, whether those activity will be sustainable. For example, if you have constructed a school or a health facilities or a wash facilities, so more likely their sustainability would be good, because uh, after you exit the area. So those schools and those health facilities and wash facility would be used by the country. So these are the basic criteria for an evaluation, and then there are different questions based on these. In the next session, we will go into much more detail to see some examples of evaluation frameworks, TORs, and reports, so that we may understand in a better way what is an evaluation, what is TOR, and how their reports, how the data is analyzed and then reported. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Thank you. Dear viewers, we have started this YouTube channel. There are free of cost learning tutorial on if you want to learn Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Access, PowerPoint, MS Word, other learning tips. So we have detailed playlist, and there are hundreds of tutorials on Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, how to design presentation, Microsoft Access, how to develop databases and manage data, online data collection, learning Google Form, KOBO, MS Forms. If you visit this channel, you can find lots of video tutorial. Kindly support us, visit the channel. For example, in MS Excel, you will find these sessions in a proper sequence. For example, in MS Excel playlist, we have this basic session and then session 2, 3, 4. So if you start learning these sessions, so from the start, you can go ahead and you will find in a sequence sessions on Microsoft Basics, data analysis, conditional format, pivot tables, use of if, concatenate formulas, dependent drop down list, validation, name managers, VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP function, F function, advanced use of count, F in some ifs, how to find duplicates, tricks and tips related to Microsoft Excel, how to develop search boxes, searchable drop down list, aggregate functions, tracking performance of the projects or any other analysis of research that you have conducted, for example, school bunch and other such studies. There are sessions on how to develop beautiful charts, attractive charts, speedometers, dashboards in Microsoft Excel. Similarly, in PowerPoint also you will find how to design beautiful presentation in PowerPoint, how to do in MS Access. Also you will find all these sessions in proper sequence. The Access tutorials playlist, there are almost 8 sessions. In session 1 you will find the basics, how to create tables, queries, forms, and then you will go on with advanced options in Microsoft Access. Similarly, you will find tutorial on how to collect online data, Google Form, KOBO, MS Form. You will find also the use of MS Word, the mail merge functions. There are sessions on SPSS also, so you can learn SPSS if you need to do some analysis in SPSS. There is a series on project management also, how to conduct need assessment studies. Kindly support us, visit the channel, watch, learn, and improve your productivity. Thank you so much.